to talk about Michael and Justine. They are back and they have 9 kids now. I'm not gonna lie, I totally forgot about Million, even though that's a big part of their storyline last season. And I forgot that they're now at 9 kids. Man, I don't know how they do it. I feel like I'm financially maxed out and I have my hands full off 2 kids. I couldn't imagine having 9 kids. And Michael said after their 9th kid, they are finally starting to realize how expensive kids really are. So Michael is still working at this moving company, and I guess they have this company where they have all these luxury vehicles. They have like 5 different luxury vehicles, and what they do is they rent them out when people come in Las Vegas. And I guess that must be pretty lucrative for him because they seem to be doing well. And I'm actually shocked they had this business because I've never seen either one of them promote this luxury car business on Instagram. And if I was them, I would be trying to take advantage of the fact that, hey, I got all these followers on social media. This is free marketing. Some people were assuming maybe these were Mocha's luxury cars because he had a lot of luxury cars, and for a while he was maybe looking at prison time from that shooting, but I don't think they ever charged him with that shooting, and they just kind of said, hey, this is a self-defense case. Or maybe all the cars are theirs, but that's a lot of money. Like, I know Michael had one car that one of his friends held for him while he was in prison. But damn, I know the life after lockup checks are not going to cover all those luxury cars that they have. And him working at a moving company, I mean, that's not going to cover luxury vehicles. So they got to be doing something else on the side to hustle, unless he just had a whole bunch of money stashed away when he went to prison. But I guess the luxury car business must have really been paying off because they're able to maintain their house, all the kids. And Michael said that they're able to afford to send all their kids to college and they're going to pay out of their pocket for it. Like, one of the daughters was like, I really want to go to this college, but I just don't think it's realistic because I don't have the money for it. And Justine was like, no, do not worry about it. You're going to go to that college and we're going to figure it out. But I'm sure they'll make it happen. And the kids are lucky their parents are willing to pay out of pocket for them to go to college. None of my parents were ever willing to do that, but we just weren't in a financial position to do that. And if they did offer to pay for my college, then I definitely would have went and things probably would have been different. And speaking of their kids, Michael, I believe it's his oldest, his daughter, she recently got into a fist fight and everybody's blaming Michael. Not everybody, but his mother is blaming Michael, saying, oh yeah, she's trying to grow up and she's trying to be just like you. Statistics do show that children who have parents who have been incarcerated, especially parents who have been incarcerated numerous times throughout that child's life, they're more likely to act out and get in fights and stuff like that. I don't think that his daughter is going to go down a bad path or anything. I just think the daughter was put in a position where she was cornered, she was being bullied, and those girls left around and found out. Because some people think that, oh, I can just walk all over this person, they're going to be quiet and take it. And I think the daughter was just showing them, like, hey, I'm not going to put up with this shit. And, I mean, if it does continue, then that's definitely something that I would be concerned about if that was Justine and Michael. Especially if they're going to be paying out of pocket to send her off to this expensive college. Because one fight in that college can get her kicked out and, you know, all that money that they spent on sending her thrown out the window. But, you know, I really can't judge the situation because I don't know the full details. I don't know if she just, like, immediately resorted to fighting or she had no other choice. I hope that was the second one. But Justine seems to be concerned about this behavior, but they're just going to keep an eye on it. Like I said, they seem to be doing pretty well off financially. Justine wants to have this big wedding, you know, since she can't have kids no more. She's ready to have this big wedding since she never got that since they had this prison wedding. And she wants the wedding to be at least $60,000. You know, I don't think she would ask for it unless she knew Michael had the money, because I don't see her as one of those type of wives that's going to make Michael spend money that he doesn't have. I think she knows he has it. That's why she's trying so hard to get this. But she said that I guess she wants to have like this big Indian wedding. She called it a special name, like Guyanese or something like that. Whatever Michael and his family, like their culture, she wants to have a wedding like that. So she wants to have this big wedding. She wants to rent an elephant, so when people walk up, the first thing you see is an elephant. And I actually looked into this to see like how easy it would be, because I'm like, okay, this has got to be hard, but maybe with them living in Vegas, it'd be a little easier. But it's actually a pretty complicated process to get an elephant. I guess there's like only 5 traveling trainers in the United States, and they charge upwards to $14,000 just to rent out an elephant for an event, because they're just so expensive to transport and take care of. So just getting the elephant alone, that's going to be 1/4 of their wedding budget. It definitely sounds like they're going to be going over budget. And she wants the elephant along with 2 wedding dresses. And she said she wants this castle venue. I'm curious if they actually do end up getting the elephant at the end of the day or not. There's a whole clause under this website saying, yeah, some states won't even allow you to get a permit because I guess a lot of animal safety activists are against it. But they're like, oh, we just want to let everyone know that we take care of our elephants, we feed them, we do everything we're supposed to do. And for some reason they turn down your permit, then just fight with them and say, oh, you're violating my religious freedom. So Justine wants this big castle, and I wish I knew what castle it was so I could look it up and see how much it's gonna be. But she wants to have this big castle she's been studying Michael for years, and she wants people to walk up, be greeted by this elephant, and I'm sure they're gonna have an elephant all dressed up in fancy Indian or Guyanese or whatever they said it was, I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, attire. And then she wants people to walk in, and Justine wants to have 2 different dresses. And she's like, yes, I'm probably going to have to spend like at least $5,000 for one of the dresses. And Michael's like, you can't make it $250? Okay, Michael, I get you're trying to save money, but you can't wear a $250 dress to a castle wedding that costs $60,000. That's like wearing a Temu dress to the Grammys. It's just not going to work. And I mean, her asking for 2 dresses, that's not unreasonable in my opinion. You know, I've heard of plenty of other brides wanting to have 2 separate dresses, and she wants to have this big fancy knife to cut her wedding cake. Like, she just wants this wedding to be as over the top as possible, which is very on brand with them. I probably wouldn't expect less, but damn, still $60,000 is a lot of money. Like, I remember when I was in middle school, my mom, she used to work for this football player, and he actually married this woman, and I was able to go to the wedding with her, and it was one of the fanciest weddings I've ever been to in my life. And I remember my mom telling me, like, they spent $30,000 just on the wedding. Like, that wasn't counting like the wedding dresses or the rings or the groom's tuxedo and like all the clothing and stuff like that. But for $30,000, they were able to have a nice wedding in this nice fancy church. And Michael and Justine want to pay double that. But I mean, it's probably a lot more expensive anyways with inflation. Like, that $30,000 wedding like 15-20 years ago is probably going to cost at least $60,000 nowadays. But here's the thing, Justine is planning this big fancy $60,000 wedding. Meanwhile, Michael's kind of trying to figure out how he's going to be able to afford all this, because the money that Justine thinks he has to invest in this wedding, he's already pretty much invested into something else. So he has this friend named Jay that he claims is a celebrity barber in Vegas. Like, when anybody, like UFC players, celebrities come in town, they hit up Jay to do their hair. Michael came up with this grand idea to open up this salon, and this is actually a really smart business idea in my opinion. So it's going to be like a his and her salon. So when you walk in, on one side they're going to have a side for the females, and on one side they're going to have a side for the males. And I think that is such a great idea, because there's so many times like women will want to go to the salon and have their man's pay for them to get their hair done, but guys don't want to sit around and just sit in the boring waiting chairs out in the lobby while they get their hair done. So they go home, and that's just like a missed opportunity. But now they can sit there and go pay for their wives to get their hair done, and then they can just walk right across the room and get their hair done at the same exact time. But Justine has no idea that Michael has already agreed to give Jay $100,000, and that's the money that they're supposed to be having for this wedding. But he's like, look, I'd rather take this money and invest it so I can at least make the money to pay for my wedding, instead of just putting it all into a wedding and just losing all this money. Like, he's trying to at least cover his butt. Like, if I'm going to have to pay this much for a wedding, at least let me find ways to multiply my money in the process outside this luxury car vehicle business. But that is it for this video, guys. I guess we're going to see in one of the upcoming episodes Justine eventually find out about Montana Mills' new hustle. But let me know what you guys think about everything in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.